Everett residents officially have a new neighbor. This vacant, polluted 33-acre parcel was purchased yesterday for a cool $35 million by Las Vegas casino mogul Steve Wynn's company, Wynn Resorts, which plans to transform it into a $1.6 billion gambling mecca. Today, Everett's mayor rolled out the welcome mat.
We're very happy here in Everett to, finally realize and see this site to see its real potential. So I'm excited to welcome the Wynn Group here into the city of Everett.
With this land transaction and our arrival into the city of Everett, nothing gets in our way in terms of bringing this project to fruition. It's onward, upward. We're ready to go for this project.
That enthusiasm and warm reception could be premature, however. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh is hoping to put the brakes on the project until people in the city's Charlestown neighborhood have a chance to weigh in. WGBH News reporter Craig Lamolt has more.
In Charlestown Sullivan Square, cars back up, even when it's not rush hour. And some drivers are concerned this busy intersection will get worse once a casino opens up just across the bridge in Everett.
I travel through here all the time. And traffic's backed up pretty frequently, even at the best of times. I can't imagine having that much more traffic going through here.
So you get people coming from like 3 different directions. So yeah, it would definitely impact this area.
It's concerns like that led Boston Mayor Marty Walsh to file suit yesterday against the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, which approved the proposed casino by Wynn Resorts.
We have been working diligently with the Wynn folks to negotiate a fair agreement that benefits the people of Boston. However, we have been unable to reach a consensus that accurately represents the impacts to the city.
Walsh says the only legal access to the Everett casino site goes through Charlestown, and so the neighborhood should be considered a host community and vote on the future of the casino.
The city has had plans to reduce congestion in traffic and to mitigate the situation in Charlestown. And when 60 to 70% of the casino patrons have to use that area, and there's been improper mitigation, that would effectively be totally inconsistent with the plans for Charlestown going forward.
Wynn Resorts has committed as much as $10 million to mitigate the casino's impact, including millions to redevelop Sullivan Square. The Gaming Commission maintains the decision to award the license to Wynn was appropriate and says even if the casino entrance is partly in Boston, it would not make the city a host community. And even though those people I talked to were sitting in a lot of traffic today and there's a promise of even more, Adam, they said most of them told me they were happy to have a casino coming. Some people talked about the economic benefits and some people said they just like to play cards.
Why do you think the city is filing this lawsuit now?
Well, the city said that that Wynn had missed a 60-day deadline to file a plan with the Gaming Commission to put a road that was just through Everett, and that because they had missed that deadline, they now couldn't do any other option, and therefore it had to go through this city.
Now, is that the road that was supposed to run through property owned by the MBTA right now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Craig Lamolt, thanks very much.
Sure.
Boston isn't the only city suing the Gaming Commission. Revere and Somerville have filed similar complaints. So could these legal battles really derail the plans in Everett? Paul DeBoli is a political science professor at LaSalle College and an expert in gambling regulations. Paul, welcome to Greater Boston.
Thanks, Adam.
So you've had a chance to look at least at some of this lawsuit. Do you believe it has merit?
It's really tough to say. I mean, I don't want to put myself in the position of a court. I mean, that's what we have courts for. But a lot of these allegations have been, brought forward at different times throughout the gaming process. And again, as you mentioned, there are currently lawsuits by Somerville and Revere. There was a lawsuit involving the Raynham track location, which was disposed of pretty quickly. So it's really tough to say whether the suit actually has merit. But again, a lot of these complaints have been heard, they've been disposed of, and I think the Gaming Commission, quite frankly, has done a really good job in attempting to address all of those concerns pretty much throughout the public hearing process.
Let's talk about some of those specific complaints. One of them is that, as we heard in Craig's piece, the only road leading into the casino is in Boston proper. Is that a legitimate beef for the city?
No, I don't think so. They're trying to hang their hat on the definition of amenity, which is not defined.
Well, this is a road issue, right?
It's a road issue, but they keep claiming the entrance entrance road as an amenity. It's part and parcel of the gaming locus. When clearly, at least within the guidance provided by the statute, it's not. But again, the courts were going to make that determination. All I can say is they might be starting a very, very slippery slope here, since one of the entrance ramps to get off of 495 to go to Plain Ridge is actually in Rentham, so Rentham could be coming in claiming they were a host community as well.
So that could really expand the definition of what a host community is.
It could expand it, and it could kind of go outside the narrow intent of the legislatures.
All right, another big point in the suit is the idea that Charles Lightbody, that convicted felon who was involved in the ownership group that sold this land to Steve Wynn, that the fact that he's a convicted felon basically means that under state law, under the gaming law, Wynn could not have been awarded the license, because you can't give the license to someone that is involved with a convicted felon. The suit really, really pushes this point pretty hard. Do you think that could be problematic for Wynn?
I think it could be problematic for the Gaming Commission. I mean, you have to remember, too, when the Gaming Commission made their vote, it was a 3-to-1 vote. But Commissioner Cameron was not as vigorous in her support of the Wynn Casino as Commissioner Stebbins and Commissioner Zuniga. So if there was a situation where there would be a revote or a rehearing, you could see her vote change and possibly see a deadlock.
Do you think that Wynn may, have reason to be concerned about actually losing this license? There's a line that really jumped out at me in this, which is basically Steve Wynn has no license. It's something I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but essentially that the license he received is null and void. Do you think he should be concerned about losing this deal that he's worked so hard to get?
I think he's got a lot of money invested in this. I think Mr. Wynn is probably a very, very cautious businessman, and I'm sure he is concerned. The question is, what did Wynn, or at least the Wynn organization, know, and when did they know it? If steps had already been taken to, remove Mr. Lightbody from the ownership, that may be a non-issue. In addition, if the U.S. Attorney's Office is pursuing forfeiture of the sales proceeds, again, that might also remove that cloud.
Just to remind viewers who may not remember, when you say forfeiture of the sales proceeds, you mean the land sale in Everett.
Correct.
That where the land went to Steve Wynn from this group that had this sort of shadow partner. What we know, or what they knew and when they knew it question, apparently, according to the suit, applies to the Gaming Commission as well, because the suit charges, the suit filed by the City of Boston, that the Gaming Commission was aware that Charles Lightbody, the convicted ex-felon, was there lurking in the background, and that they covered that up and didn't give that information to the City of Boston as early as they should have. Well,
is
that problematic?
I don't think it was a case where they covered it up. I mean, they have a very, very exacting investigations and enforcement arm, and staffed by a lot of really good detectives from the Mass State Police. I don't think it was covered up at all. I think they played their cards close to their vest because it was an active investigation, and they had to play it that way.
The backdrop to all this, of course, is the fact that Steve Crosby, the chair of the Gaming Commission, apparently has this decades-long relationship with Paul Lonis, who was one of the owners of this land that was sold to Steve Wynn. Now, for Suffolk Downs partisans, that was proof going way back that the fix was in. The commission was going to give this land to Wynn because Steve Crosby was buddies with someone who was going to benefit. Do you think that having this stuff dragged out into the open, whatever happens in court, is it going to make the public lose faith in the integrity of this process?
I actually don't think so. I watched with rapt fascination most of the Gaming Commission hearings, and I have to tell you, the Gaming Commission, as a public body, bent over backwards to take any input that they could from a variety of sources. They went for days and days and days hearing comments for support, comments in opposition. They exhaustively went through an analysis of both parties' applications. And again, what this was a case of was two incredibly competent applicants with two very good but two very different proposals that had to be evaluated in some way. And having watched the Gaming Commission's hearings, the rigorous...
Which were all online, by the way, it's worth noting.
Which were online, and their transcript, as well as all of the commissioners' packets, as well as the slideshow presentations. I think they looked at everything possibly that they could. They realized that they had... I think they would have liked to have given 2 licenses in the Eastern District of Massachusetts. They were only statutorily authorized to give 1. And what they really had to do is look at both proposals and see which one got the most bang for the buck in terms of economic development.
And you think they made the right call?
based on the information that was presented at the hearings, I don't see how they could have made any other conclusion than to give it to Wynn.
Okay, briefly, what do you think Boston Mayor Marty Walsh's end game is here? What does he want to happen, and what may happen?
Well, I think he's actually trying to do the right thing, at least from his perspective. You know, he has constituents that he has to represent, and he wants to make sure that their voices are heard. And if I was in the same position as him, I might be doing exactly the same thing. But on the other side, what you have is the city of Everett, who worked very, very hard on this process, and the citizens of Everett voted overwhelmingly in support of the casino referendum. And they were kind of doing everything that they could along the way to make sure that they would facilitate this decision in Wynn's favor. And at a certain point, I think the mayor has to realize that you know, they gave it their best shot. They've tried everything that they could. They have a neighbor who was kind of borne the brunt of deleterious effects being so close to the city of Boston. So maybe now it's time for Everett maybe to you know, to get something that's good for its citizens as well. And I think that probably will be the way it goes.
We'll leave it there. Paul DeBoli, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.